Hello everyone, it's Monday in Paris. You are listening to the Earful Tower podcast. My name's Oliver G, and this show is brought to you by French Today. French Today, they're audiobooks that will teach you how to speak French like a French person. More on them at the end of the episode, including the code to get a 10% discount, which is /earful4. FrenchToday.com/earful4. More on them at the end. But it's also, it's the first day of April, which means it's April Fool's Day. And I did consider trying to pull some kind of prank on you guys, but I decided against it. You guys have seen my haircut. You get a free joke every single day. So I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. This is a fun episode, and I want to get straight into it. But first, I'll tell you the story of how it came about, because it's rather unusual. I've been doing this for 2 years. This never happened before. So let me tell you the story. I was walking down the street in the 9th arrondissement. I was with Lena, my wife, who you might, eagle-eared listeners might hear my wife in the background of this episode. So we're walking down the street, and I crossed over to take a picture of some street sign or something, as I usually do, and I found myself standing next to the one and only Caroline de Maigret, who, if you've never heard of her, you've been living under a rock. She's a model, she's a music producer, and she wrote the book, How to Be Parisian Wherever You Are. She's essentially the ultimate Parisian woman, and I was just standing right next to her, and I said, I was kind of shocked, but I thought, wouldn't she make a great guest on the podcast? So I stopped her and I said, sorry, you're Caroline de Maigret, right? And she said, well, yes, I certainly am. And we got chatting a little bit, and it was a bit weird, I stopped her in the middle of the street like that, but I said, hey, look, do you ever do podcast interviews with Australian podcasters? And she goes, yeah, I could do it. And then we started sort of exchanging details, and she goes, you know what? I got a lot on my plate. This is never going to happen, really, unless we do it right now. And I said, what? And she said, right now, I'm talking right now. We go to a coffee shop, you record it on your phone. If you want to do it, we do it now. And I said, but Caroline, I haven't prepared. I haven't done anything. And she said, now or never, boy. And I said, well, let's do it. So that's what we did. We went to a cafe in the 9th arrondissement. We sat down. I used the phone to record it. Now, a word of warning, this is not going to be like studio. We're not sitting in the studio. We're in a cafe. So you'll hear people talking in the background. You hear people, you hear the waiter bring over the drinks, which I left it all in to give you guys the feel that you're sitting in the coffee shop with us. But what I will say is that there were moments when the espresso machine went off and it was very noisy. I've cut them out. So if it feels like there are little bits of jumps here and there, it's because I edited away where it was too noisy. But you're going to enjoy this episode. I think you're going to really love it. There's some things to keep an ear out for. Caroline talking about, why she likes Paris, talking about how to be a Parisienne or Parisian, and, this idea of the freedom here, how to be yourself, being okay with who you are. Also, about 15 minutes into the conversation, I asked her what separates Paris from the other cities in the world, and she left the longest pause, and she really thought it through. And usually if someone leaves a 30-second pause, I'd take it out, but I left it in. I think it adds some good weight to her excellent answer. So, if you think it's going all quiet, or if you think we've forgotten to talk, I just left the pause in. Let's see how it goes. Anyway, it's Caroline de Maigret. It is the author of How to Be Parisian Wherever You Are. And in a cafe with the Earful Tower. I really hope you guys enjoy the episode, and I'll be back at the end to read through some emails and talk about French Today. Here we go, Caroline on the Earful Tower. Let's go.
I'll put it recording now. My name's Oliver. The show is called The Earful Tower, just so you know what you're doing.
Okay.
What I thought I'd start with is it regular for you to be stopped in the street and to walk into a cafe and do an interview like this?
No, it is not regular, but you guys seemed cool, and I was just trying to save the planet, so I'm in a good mood.
Tell me about how. So you were marching with Parisians today. What was that about? Did you organize something there, or?
No, I'm helping. We're trying to gather as many people as we can, because that's how politicians work. If you have a lot of people, then they want to be elected with, maybe they'll put one or two laws about it.
Right. And so the goal is this a typical Parisian thing, to march in for something that you feel important about?
Oh yeah, I've been marching since I'm a little kid. We've gained all our rights by marching in the streets, so I really believe in it, and I believe it works.
Isn't that how Marie Antoinette got her head cut off, because people marched against her, that kind of stuff?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's called a revolution.
Yeah. So we're in the midst of a revolution.
it's not a revolution yet, but I think people start to be really angry and realizing it's not tomorrow anymore, but it's now.
So let's talk a little bit about, and I know as we were walking up, I said we don't want to only talk about this, but it's kind of something you've become very known for, is being a Parisian and how to be a Parisian woman. Take a look at me and tell me what you think I'm doing wrong. You can be as personal as you want.
Okay, the book is not about style though, the book is about attitude. So it's more, the whole book is about explaining to people that I think the Parisian woman was something that was fantasized by a lot of people because of her freedom, and people think it's because of her style and because of her hair or whatever. It's just I think that Parisian women have realized that it was okay not to be perfect, and they're okay about it. And so it's more about leaving the pressure off. Being Parisian.
We can continue. It's all right.
Okay.
This is quite authentic, I think.
And merci beaucoup.
Merci, monsieur.
Jus de citron. Oui, ça c'est pour moi le Perrier aussi.
So maybe you can tell me what we ordered, because I did a trick that I've been doing since I moved to Paris. Is when someone orders something and they know more than me, I say, "Oui, la même chose, s'il vous plaît." What did we order?
We ordered lemon juice with Perrier.
Okay, so just bubbly Perrier water. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it was lemon juice.
And you mix it together?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's nice. For the juice. Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it. That was nice.
It's
It's zesty. I feel more Parisian already. Okay.
You'll feel more awake.
So we were talking about how to Parisian. It's not just about style. It's also about the attitude.
It's just the whole consciousness of not having to run after something that's impossible, which is to be perfect. And then it just then your style is going to be different. Everything is going to be different once you're okay with who you are, and just trying to feed yourself with things that are more interesting. Might it be, books, movies, whatever. That's the whole idea of the book.
So do you think? So I've read the book. In fact, I thought
You've read the book?
I've read it, and I bought it as a Christmas present for my wife, Lena, and it was very successful. I know you toured around a lot promoting it. Do you think that resonated with people abroad because they want not the impossible, but they want to be like the Parisians? Or do you think it's more some kind of fantasy myth about people from Paris that is different? Why do people care so much?
I think people care because there is that freedom, and freedom is so exciting, Don't you feel it when you walk in the streets that people are quite, I don't know, I like the fact that here, you take time. I mean, probably in Australia as well. I've never been to Australia, unfortunately.
Not yet.
Not yet. But I like the fact that, I stopped in a cafe with my friends and we're gonna rebuild the wall for hours, and there's something very poetic about it, and yeah.
It's true. I think, and I think that's probably why a lot of people listen to my show, is because they're very curious about Paris, French people, Parisians, and they, I don't know if they think they can emulate it, or if they just want to, like when it rubs off. If you hang out with someone who you think is really cool and has understood it, if you hang around that person, you hope that it rubs off. And also that's maybe why they come to Paris, to just sort of like capture that kind of feeling that you're talking about. Do you notice?
Yeah, I think that the pleasure is a strong key as well, and But yeah, I feel that. I feel there is something quite cool and sexy about Paris.
What is it? Explain the sexy part.
Well, the fact that pleasure is one of the key elements of our life. Might it be from food to the pleasure of the arts. I mean, when you walk down the street, you're amazed at every corner. I'm still amazed every morning when I walk down by the architecture, we have the chance of having the most incredible exhibitions, theater plays, you know what I mean, and
sure.
Food,
the lemon juice is pretty good as well.
Fashion is incredible. There are a lot of beauty in Paris, and there's a lot of poetry, and Yeah.
So tell me, your book was obviously successful. Did it surprise you that it took off like it did?
It surprised me. It didn't really surprise me in a way that when we first wrote like the 50 first pages, we sent them to America, and they did an auction. The publishers did an auction together for the book, so for a week, I think.
Right.
So we understood we had something that was quite interesting, because the whole concept was to destroy the myth and to make it happen again, in a way that the myth was that she was perfect. So the idea was to free people from that.
So where did this idea that Parisian women and men are perfect come from?
I don't know. There is something. I know there is something quite mysterious about Parisian. I know that, as far as I'm concerned, and I know my friends as well, we're not gonna spend time talking about whatever your diet, your gym, your whatever, all those things that is your intimacy and personal life. It's not very interesting to share. So all those things that on how you achieve to be who you are just as an aesthetic, this first of all we don't share. So there is already quite a mystery about that. That makes it a bit deeper somehow. Maybe because fashion was born in Paris as well in the early 1900s. I mean, even late 18. But you know what I mean? It's always been a place of love. You see it in the movies and in the books.
Yeah.
You know, it's a long history for lovers and beauty and fashion.
Tell me how that makes you feel as a Parisian woman. Some might say like the ultimate Parisian woman, right? How does it make you feel when you rolled your eyes when I said that? But how does it make you feel when you see a movie, like a typical movie set in Paris, maybe an American movie set in Paris? Do you watch that and do you go, oh my God, so far off the truth? Or do you does it irritate you, or do you?
No, you know what? I love cliches. I think cliches are fun. I think they make me dream. They're fun. And I was a big fan of the Nouvelle Vague, which was the epitome of this kind of cliches. I love the lightness. I love going through. I think that's what I try to do with the book as well, is to go through lightness, to be a bit deeper behind and say other things and empower women in a way as well. So I think it's all good.
One thing you said that I'm interested about is Parisian women, when you guys hang out, you don't talk about diets and stuff like that. This is so far from my world, because I've been here for 4 years in Paris. I know so few Parisian women, and let alone hanging out with several at once. Does that say something about Parisian women, that they don't tend to break out of their own circles and hang out with foreigners like me, or people who are, is it a kind of a clique, like a club? Is that something or is it just that they don't want to hang around with me?
No, I don't know. I know I have new friends every year,
right.
And my circle gets bigger and bigger, and I love meeting new people. So. But I have to say that maybe it works better with friends of friends.
Right.
That's how it works usually, to really get in the circle.
But is it like your circle of friends, are they mostly Parisians from Paris, or do you go like, we'll bring in someone from Avignon this year? Or
no, there are people from everywhere.
All right, one thing we need to talk about, and
a lot of Parisians are not from Paris.
I know. For like 3 years, I didn't think there were anyone that was from Paris. I'd meet someone who lives here, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm Parisian." I'd say, "Oh, where were you born?" And they'd say, "Brittany." And then I had this theory that there weren't any Parisians, and then someone said, "Look how many hospitals there are, you idiot! Of course, there's people being born here."
They are. I'm a real one.
Really? Go on then. Where were you born? Which arrondissement?
Where I was born?
Yeah.
Well, I was born in a hospital in Neuilly.
So that's technically outside of the periphery, right?
Yeah, but that's not where I was raised.
Yeah, well, I'm just going by the passport.
By the hospital, okay.
Well, that's my way of doing it. Yeah. But where were you raised? Were you brought up in central Paris, or whereabouts?
In the 8th.
Oh, cool. And now where are we now? The 9th.
Pigalle.
Yeah. Is this kind of like your hometown now, where you're hanging around?
Yeah, well, I'm a music producer as well, and our music studio is 5 minutes from the house, and all the guitar shops are here, and mostly my friends and the cool bars. And
yeah. Can you recommend any cool bars
around here?
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, and then I'm gonna keep them for myself. No.
What about the cool ones that you don't go to anymore?
Exactly. That's what I was gonna tell you.
That's all right. The second tier of bar.
No, there is Le Mansard is always a good option.
What's it called? Le Mansard?
Le Mansard. It's 1 Rue Mansard.
How do you spell that?
Mansart.
Which one was this? Hang on, we've got the producer, lovely Lena, stepping in. What did you say?
Hi, we were there last weekend.
Where was this?
With Hilda.
The Hotel Amour. I don't know where I go.
No, Hotel Amour is a good place to go. It's around the corner. Le Mansard, I like Le Mansard because first of all, the kids that are working there are really cool, but it's always at night you have good rock and roll music, and I'm a rock girl, so that's what I want to hear.
Is that the kind of music that you're producing, rock and roll music?
Yeah.
What sort? Can you? I mean, I would have explored this before we sat down for the interview, but
I don't have a label anymore.
Okay.
So I don't have all my bands that I used to have before. It was from punk rock to. I even produced country rock.
Oh, cool.
All kind of lots of different rock. But I've stopped the label. I only produce now.
Okay. You wrote the book, Runaway Success. Surely there's thoughts of another book.
Yeah, we just finished a new book.
The same team of writers?
Same team, but it's not on Parisian.
Oh,
it's a different story which you won't know right now.
This is what I know. This tone when I speak to someone, it means I'm not going to tell you anything else because it's not being released yet. Tell me everything you can tell me.
I know, but if you tell people too much ahead, then the book comes out and they feel like they've read it already, and it's like, it's old. It's been here forever.
Okay, well we'll start with some basic questions.
It's coming out in Christmas.
That's
so
what
we
I was
still
going
have
to
a little
ask.
while.
So it's going to come out in Christmas. It's a book that's not about Parisians.
No, but because it's the same four of us, it's a Parisian woman that's talking, of course. But
right. Can I
I'll
guess?
tell you.
Can I guess?
Okay, try.
Is it? I get two guesses. Okay. Is it something to do with New York?
No.
Okay. Why do you laugh?
Because I'm imagining you're thinking that how to be a New Yorker, a Parisian in New York. Or whatever.
I guess a Parisian couldn't really write that one as well. As well as a New Yorker could write it. But I just find a lot of people that write books, because I talk to a lot of authors on my show, they write something about Paris and then something about New York and try and do a series starting with a big city.
I understand. It wasn't our goal.
So I was wrong. But my second guess, is it how to be from Avignon, wherever you are?
No, we've actually changed title.
Okay. Is it about being a Parisian or something? You got to give me something.
No, it's about aging.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Ah. And then the roses it implies.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
No, you won't know more.
Oh, well, you gave me a lot, so thank you anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's go back to what I like to tell guests is that this shows the guest is also Paris as a city, and you were talking a bit about how you found it like beautiful and poetry and that kind of stuff. What separates Paris from all the other cities in the world that you've been to?
That's a hard question.
Too hard?
Yeah, it's too hard. Well,
because I got a backup if you want another one.
Yeah, I won't. Okay. What I like about Paris is that you have. I found a little bit of everything that I like in a few cities around the world, which is there is still this energy of creativity of doing things that I find in New York that always gave me wings and pushed me, and Paris has a little of that of you can actually do things, and there are all the key people that are gonna help you doing that, and the energy and stuff. And then there is the beauty of it, and then I like the fact that a lot of people are quite how do you call that, into politics in a way. People care for what happens in the world and around them, and I like that about Paris. I like the fact that there are people from all over the world. Yeah, it's a rich place.
Do you feel that it's becoming more international in that, like, I notice as an English native speaker that a lot more people seem to be speaking English in this city than even 4 years ago when I moved here. Is that something you notice as well?
Well, I don't know, because I don't have to speak English. I don't really.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even like the fact that we're sitting here talking in English, the way that people used to talk about Paris 10 years ago was that no one spoke English, and it was really like the tourists would come here and be like, "What? I don't even know how to order a drink in a cafe or something." It feels like there's a change happening right in front of my eyes.
Maybe the system of education is better. I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you.
That's something else I like about Paris, but that's more about France.
Tell me.
Well, we have amazing schools, and I went to university at La Sorbonne. It cost me 100 euros a year.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Crazy.
To have the best teachers in the world and the coolest education, and then I gave birth to a child for free.
Yeah.
All this is quite an amazing thing.
And I know that because I was talking to some Americans the other day who were saying similar to you how amazing it is, and then they said, "Yeah, but you pay high taxes here." Does that resonate for you that the taxes are high and that's a bit irritating, or do you think it's all?
Well, no. I mean, I'm glad to pay high taxes to be able so that everyone can go to school and everyone can go to the hospital. So of course.
Hey, I think the same as you. I'm just saying what you it's fine, because the one that pay high taxes, it means they're okay. Like Sweden.
No, but if you pay a high tax, it means you make enough money to live.
Yeah.
So everyone's fine, no problem.
I've got that easy question for you from before. I think it's easier, but it's also a bit tricky, right? And I ask this to lots of people. But imagine you're going to be deported from France tomorrow for an unspeakable crime, which you can leave up to your own imagination, to America, or doesn't matter, Australia for the first time. And for some reason, you have to spend your last day in Paris in one arrondissement. Which arrondissement would that be, and why?
But I take all my friends and family, and
You can do whatever you want. You can use any of your imagination, but you cannot cross the border into the next one.
damn. I think I'll just stay around home and I'll stay in the 9th. Am I allowed?
Yeah, you can, but you have to explain why. And you cannot say you're just going to stay in your house and have your friends.
No, I'm not staying in my house, but I'm going to stay in the 9th because for me it's the most complete one. It has cool bars, amazing restaurants, like very good affordable restaurants. It has music bars, where you can actually listen to good music.
Right. You mean like live music?
Live music. Good cocktails. You don't have many museums. That's not.
There's one I went to, the Gustave Moreau.
You have Gustave Moreau, and right here in the street you have Musée de la Vie Romantique, of the romantic life, which is quite nice. But then my favorite one in Paris is Le Bal, which is quite a photographic kind of a museum, quite political, always with like big reporter. But it's in the 18th. That's the limit.
I'm sorry, Caroline. I'm sorry about that. You're not allowed to do it there. You can do that the day before, but forget it.
You have the Phono Gallery Museum, which is the museum of the sound of all the machines that made music since the very first one.
I find it hard to believe you'll spend your last day going to 6 museums around the night.
No, I'm saying it's why it's complete.
Okay. So
why it's a complete one.
So where we?
There's something very homey about the 9th. It's touristic, but not too much. and I know every single person. The 3 streets around my house. It's just really cool.
Something I'd love to ask you about. So I've moved into Montmartre, and I find it's a real villagey feel, and that everybody, the baker, the butcher, everyone knows each other and will happily talk to you.
It's nice, no?
I love it. But I thought maybe it was just a Montmartre thing. Is that something that you can do anywhere in Paris?
Anywhere in Paris, I've had that.
Even in like Rue Montagueil or something like that? That's really...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You have the same people every day.
So what's your tips to someone like me who's recently moved to Paris as a foreigner, or maybe imagine some Americans or Australians listening to this who are coming for a 1-month stay? Do you think it's worth trying to befriend the bakers and the butchers, or do you think you can forget it?
I don't know, don't you think it's nice to try to have friends everywhere? Yeah,
So how do you do it? What do you tip them, or
no,
slip them a 20 for a
You
baguette?
smile and you talk nicely, and people are nice when you're nice, you know? I think it's the vibe you give to people.
I'm so glad I've got you as a real Parisian here, because I've had a long question for a long time. Do you smile or not in Paris? And people have a mix of the two. I think maybe you wrote about this in your book. So you just told me that you should smile in the baker.
You should just smile in life, I think. Maybe, you know, when I wrote the book, it was 5 years ago, I wasn't the same person either. And I want to be living in a world where people are actually nice and smile and try to be good to each other, honestly.
Yeah. It makes for a better world.
Yeah.
A few more questions
The
before
world I want to live in.
A few more questions before we finish up. I realize we've been talking for 25 minutes already. Went quick. Because it's great. I feel like you're a fountain of knowledge that you can correct me on something. Is it true that the area...
I wish.
You've written a book on anyone that's written a book is an expert by default.
Yeah. It's 5 years ago. I've changed.
But was that a game changer for you, writing a book? Because a lot of people say that once you're published, even it doesn't matter what you've written, people go, "Oh, she's got a book. She knows." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I didn't write a Nobel Prize, huh?
Not yet. But here's the question I wanted to ask: is that people say that this part of Paris, south of Pigalle, is called soapy?
Yeah, I think it's just the foreigners that say that.
I'm so
and
glad
a
you
few
said
people, like a few shops maybe, that try to make it a thing. You know, it's just marketing.
So it's not really, the Parisians wouldn't say that.
Well, I would hate saying that. I would feel so embarrassed.
What I understand is that it came from, so there's Soho in New York, south of, I know it's not Houston Street, you pronounce it different, Houston Street.
Houston.
Yeah, right. And in London there's Soho as well. But that's named from a hunting call, like Soho, because it used to be the hunting ground. And then people are just trying to make them up everywhere. And tell me, okay, we can finish on that. The idea of Paris from a foreigner's perspective, and the places to go and not to go, not because they're dangerous or anything, just to make the most of your time here. And if you consider that we've already promoted the 9th arrondissement, where else in Paris would you send people who want to see the real Paris?
You need to hang out in Saint-Germain-des-Prés. It's always quite exciting in a way. You know, it's the districts of the writers from the time, and you know, of Jean-Paul Sartre.
I heard that people that live on the right bank don't go over there though. It's like a holiday to go over to the left bank.
Yeah, it is a holiday.
Why do people say that?
Well, because you know it's very clean. It's very. It's pretty.
Yeah.
There's not much to do, really. Like there's not much reason, but I like to go when it's spring or summer. I go with my scooter.
You got a scooter as well?
Yeah.
What sort of scooter do you have?
It's a very shitty Peugeot.
Do you know what? So Lena got me a scooter as a surprise gift, and for our honeymoon, we drove 4,000 kilometers around France in a love heart shape.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah, never again, Caroline. Because the top speed is 45 kilometers an hour.
Because you took a 50.
Yeah. What have you got?
I have a 50 as well, but I only stay in Paris. It's good enough.
We crossed the Alps at 10 kilometers an hour.
Oh shit, that's funny. That's funny. Even the Tour de France would go faster.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so sorry, I just felt like sharing that story.
Yeah, and I love riding by the river, so I often go left bank for that. But like the left bank, I think Montmartre is important. I would go. Where would I go? I think every arrondissement, Le Marais is good.
What color is your scooter?
Black.
Black scooter. Mine's red. We should go for a ride one day.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Scooters are fun in Paris. It's a nice drive. No?
Absolutely.
Paris is so small. That's why when you ask me where to hang out, it's like it's everywhere you should hang out because it's so small.
Yeah.
It's so small. I mean, you have to go everywhere. What I always try to tell people is when they come for 2 or 3 weeks, I try to tell them to go have an Airbnb in different areas.
Yeah.
Change every week.
I agree with that, but even so we live in Montmartre. I sometimes want to just for 4 days rent an Airbnb in, I don't know, Montparnasse or something, just to try life over there and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that kind of stuff?
To rent an apartment.
But you know, like go and just stay in a different part of town because it might be fun.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
I want to do a house swap. If I had a friend who lived like in the Marais, I'd be like, yeah, let's switch for a week. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, no.
But you've been here your whole life. I've only been
But
here.
I do force myself to go in different areas.
Yeah.
For as a restaurants or just to hang out. Everyone is out in the streets in Paris. Like as soon as the sun comes out, we're all on terrace.
Yeah. What about you like to walk?
Yeah, I only walk. I mean, if I don't have my scooter, I just walk.
Okay, I want to end on comparing notes about something. I bet no one's ever had this conversation with you before. Favorite streets? How's the drink, by the way? You enjoying that drink? Is this what you always get?
If I don't drink alcohol, yeah.
And what is it? What did you order again? Say it again so I can remember.
It's lemon juice.
Hey, but what did you say to order it?
Jus de citron.
Jus de citron avec Perrier, s'il vous plaît.
Avec du Perrier.
Okay, but here was the question that no one asked you. Favorite streets to scoot down in Paris?
The river. It's by the river. What I like to do is I take it by the Louvre, on the right bank by the Louvre, and I just...
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know.
What did that mean? Do you mean going heading east?
You can go quite fast. And heading east.
Yeah, but the cobblestones dangerous. You don't think? You mean in front of the Louvre? So the riverside, but down on the. Do you mean down on the quay?
No, not down on the quay. On the road.
Yeah. And then what? You end up at like the Bois de Vincennes or something if you keep going that way.
Yeah, well, you stop in Bastille and you turn, and then you go Institut du Monde Arabe.
Oh yeah.
And you come back on the other side. I love doing it.
I've got I got one of my favorites. Tell me what you think. Is the other side of the river. So you cross over at Notre Dame and you turn right. I don't know the name of that street, but immediately right once you crossed onto the left bank. And then if you go all the way to the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
And
that's the return of my path.
That's probably why we never see each other. We're going.
Where you go through Saint Michel.
Yeah.
And you just go straight to the Eiffel Tower.
And the best bit is on that road at least, the lights change almost perfectly, so you get green all the way. Have you noticed that? Same on Boulevard Sébastopol.
Yeah, of course. That's everywhere in Paris. If you have the same speed, once you go on green, then you should always have green.
And that's why it's faster on a scooter than in any other mode of transport.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I think we can finish on that note. I know you have things to do. Thanks for being on the show and for teaching me all about how to be a Parisian.
You're welcome.
Well, there you have it. That was fun, wasn't it? Did you feel that you were in the coffee shop with us? Did you hear lovely Lena in the back laughing? Well, that was all happening. Really good fun. If you're still listening, Caroline, thank you for being on the show. What I figured I'd do now is I'd talk a little bit about French today and my progress with it. But first, I want to talk about some of the emails that I've been getting in because I don't know what's changed with the Earful, but all of a sudden I get a lot of emails from you guys. Some of them absolutely rubbish. Some of them are the most half-hearted emails I've ever seen in my life. Things like, you just get an email that says, "Can you tell me a good restaurant near the Eiffel Tower?" That's it. Not even hello. It makes me wonder what people like Caroline have to go through in their inbox. But some of them are really nice, and I thought I'd read out one or two to you guys before we get into French today. So here goes. So here's one I got that made me smile. It's from Kathy Leno, And she says, hi, it's kind of a long one, so I'm going to skip through a little bit of it. She says, hi, Oliver, just a note to tell you and your listeners, so I think she knew that I was going to read it out, about a great experience I had a few years ago, maybe as many as 10. My son was on a business trip in Belgium and stopped in Paris for a long weekend before flying home to the US. It was not a typical tourist season, and the Notre Dame Cathedral was sparse of visitors. My son, who wanted to get some photos of Paris from the top of the cathedral, decided to call me. It was noon in Paris, early morning in Ohio, maybe 6 a.m. I was just waking up, my cell phone sounded. When I picked it up, he said, hey, Mom, listen. I did the American accent, from what I assume an Ohio accent sounds like. Hey, Mom, listen. I could hear the bells ringing. He then told me where he was, and I was totally thrilled. What a great surprise. It was the best gift I've ever received, and will remember that moment for the rest of my life. The amazing gift planted my desire to visit Paris. Since then, I've only been one time, but I will be back, especially since listening to your podcast and watching your videos. Some force within me draws me to France. Best wishes, good luck with the Earful Tower, from Kathy. I love that, Kathy. I love that it was the best gift you ever received was when your son called you from the top of the tower. That's wonderful. Really beautiful. Nice way to wake up, too. The bells of the Notre Dame. I can imagine that. That's very exotic for Ohio. I'm going to leave it at that one email today because I quite liked it. A bit different. If you got cool stories, you want me to read something out, I'm going to do it more regularly because I like the interaction when there's a good email. But also just a bit of a news before I get on with it. I did the event at John Baxter's house that I've been talking about for a while. That was brilliant. Thanks to all you guys who came. 12 Patreon supporters in one room is a world record, at least for the Earful Tower. Really nice. Thanks for bringing the cheese, the dessert, the wine, and the book conversation was fantastic too. I'm going to upload that to YouTube publicly. So if anyone wants to check that out and know what I'm talking about, it is on YouTube. New month means new book for the book club, Paris to the Moon by Adam Gopnik. I've started reading that. Seems very good. I'm thinking after that event is that I want to do more events in Paris. I really enjoyed doing that. It was so nice to meet so many people. So watch this space. I'm going to do more. But on to French Today. So if you're new around here, French Today is an audiobook company where they teach you French, essentially, through audiobooks. So you listen to it, you get language lessons, you repeat. It's all about repetition. I hope by now you've heard Camille, the woman who does the voice on the audiobooks, has been on the podcast a couple times now, over the years actually, and she will be on again this month talking about motivation. So what I figured I'd talk to you, when I say talking about motivation, I mean talking about motivation to learn a language. And one thing I talked to her about on the phone last time we chatted was that she thinks a good way to learn it is to do 15 minutes every day, 15 minutes of language learning. So with it being a new month and a new audiobook for me, I'm on number 4 now, I'll tell you about how my 15 minutes went this morning. What I decided to do was, with the À moi Paris level 4, is I figured I would literally do 15 minutes to start the day. I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm a bad student. Of anything and everything, but I'm going to take it really seriously this month and try 15 minutes per day. It's going to be my challenge, and I'm going to report to you now on what happened this morning when I did 15 minutes. So I got through, the way the book works is there's study guides and there's a story, and so in book 4, just like book 3, Camille repeats it twice. Once at a street level and once at a little bit of a slower level. Every time I've been doing it on the street level because I'm a little bit more advanced, but now it's kind of catching up to me, which is perfect. So now I'm going to be sort of doing this at the same level that I think a student is supposed to be doing it. And what I really liked about it, so I got through the story 1, halfway through, which gives you an idea of what you can do in 15 minutes of just the story. And I was repeating it probably, sitting in the studio, reporting it before I got editing on today's episode. What I like about it is, I'm talking about these two girls having these, how they get ready in the morning. And as I'm repeating it, I was thinking, this is the kind of stuff that I don't say in French, but I wish I could say in French, or I wish I would use in French, or I've never thought about how to use it. Things like, for example, how did you sleep? I slept like a log last night. You know, that kind of thing. I had no idea how to say that. Comme un loir. Loir. I'm going to use it. I like that kind of stuff. They were talking about one of the girls, when she gets ready in the morning, she goes to the gym or whatever, and then she stretches. How to stretch? I had no idea what it's called to do some stretching, but it's now one of my favorite French words. It's assouplissement. Assouplissement. What a lovely word. Assouplissement. But even things like she's running down the stairs. Deux sont les escaliers 4x4. 4x4, to say quickly. These are the things that you'd... I don't know, I sort of stopped learning French after I've been here a couple of years and just started picking it up day to day. And I find that I hadn't been picking up much, maybe because I live in English so much, hanging out with English people, interviewing them in English. I don't know, but it's cool and I'm enjoying it. So I've been writing down a few things. I just jotted them down, which slowed me down, to be honest with you, because I was doing it for you guys to listen at home. But I'm going to try it this month, 15 minutes by 15 minutes by 15 minutes every day. If you want to join in with me, learn French, you can do it right from the very beginning, or you can do it from a more advanced level if you're better than I am. But no matter what you buy, if you want to get an additional 10% off, use this link. You ready? www.frenchtoday.com/earful4. The 4 means April. If you're listening to this in May, put a 5. If you're listening to this in June, put a 6. If you're listening to this in the past, I don't know how you're doing that. Well, that's it for me. You've been listening to the Earful Tower. I can't wait to talk to you again next Monday. Thanks for listening. Be sure to hit that big old subscribe button, and I'll see you again in a week.